And welcome back, everybody, to the LJL Academy scene. I'm still Midnight, still joined by Middle Cot for what will be game number 5 here for the Academy teams. And in any other world, we would say that this would be a titan of a match here. Detonation, Focus Me, and Rascal Jester, two of the arguably strongest teams in the LJL themselves. Unfortunately, Middle Cot, it's fair to say that their Academy rosters haven't had the same impact as the primary rosters.
Well, they've had the same impact. It's just been going in an opposite direction. Rascal Jesters and DFM Academy both currently sat at 0 and 2. I feel like we've had glimpses from Rascal Jesters, particularly their jungler Kurup and their bot lane Siratama and Shakespeare, but we've seen a little bit less from DFM. They'll be looking for someone to really step up in this game to grab them their first win.
Yeah, and of course, a win under. I mean, one of these teams has to walk away from this match with a win under their belt. Because you don't have a choice in the matter here. Unfortunately, one of you guys has to take the win. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just how League of Legends work. There is no draw in this game. I mean, technically, there's a completely lobby breaks and you just remake the game, but that's not technically a.
I think an
technically a
0-2
draw.
loss streak is not powerful enough to cause things like that to start happening.
Not yet. Okay, that is a little bit toxic though. But between these two teams, as you said, it's not that everything has been disastrously wrong, right? The signs for for Rascal Jester, they have shown some good signs of life there, and even DFM, there have been areas where it's like, look, it's not a complete disaster, but I feel like, and this has to be brought up, unfortunately, is the area that I'm most interested in is the middle lane,
Oh, no.
Cosmic and Reeve. And the reason why I feel like this middle lane has to be brought up is that both of these mid laners, independently, have been involved in a Flame Horizon. Unfortunately, they've been involved in the worst end of the Flame Horizon.
Yeah, both by the same player, actually. Wasteland's Victor is a sight to behold, and Cosmic and Ree will be having nightmares about it for a long time to go. Cosmic actually getting gapped in 21 minutes. So hopefully we won't see a repeat of that for either of these players this game, because getting your own Flame Horizon is nice, but I feel like there's a little bit of camaraderie here. Neither of these mid laners has really had the opportunity to show what they can do, and they're going to be looking to do that this game. I think the bot lane is a very interesting place to look towards, specifically for Rascal Jesters, because we did talk about Siratama and Shakespeare being a real shining light for this team. We've seen a little bit of over-aggression occasionally from Siratama on stuff like the Ezreal and on the Kai'Sa, but it's been paired up well with Shakespeare. She's been getting very good turnaround engages, particularly on the Leona. In their last game against, I believe it was Burning Core Academy, there's a play where they're getting ganked 2v3 in the bot lane. She goes back in, the support from the team arrives, and they're able to turn it around. So if you're able to leverage those micro advantages that you can generate with this bot lane a little bit, I think Rascal Jester's Academy have got a decent shot of actually getting a W on the board in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Rascal Jesters, I feel like between the two teams, I feel like they probably got the best chance of the victory here. Like, it feels weird to say, hey, Rascal Jesters have a good chance against DFM. Now, depending on where you say the sentence, you're going to get different reactions. Because if you said this before the quarterfinals in the regular season, you've been laughed at, and then you realize, oh crap, that's okay. That's how that pans out.
Yep.
And then you say in the academy, so you're like, okay, an entirely different beast between these ones of DFM. In theory, at least, going to be strong. But I feel like a lot of this game isn't. Again, I could just say that it's going to be very mid-focused because our two mid laners have struggled to put good performances forward. But I feel like my attention is going to be, actually, of all places, in the top lane. Now, the reason why I say that is we're seeing the top lane pool, especially in the academy scene, is so different to what we would typically expect. Normally it's just, Renekton and some other weird things like Camille eventually thrown in there. But now we're seeing stuff like Kennen being bought out, for, like, just sort of out of nowhere, from my eyes. Stuff like Fiora has managed to even find her way into there as well. So these picks that are so not standard have finally snuck through. And I want to see other of these high carries, right? I want to see stuff like Gwen. Where's she hiding out at? Because we know that these players should be able to take up the likes of the Gwen.
Well,
So I want to see these carries.
well, we did see Gwen a couple games ago. Looked pretty disgusting. I do like that you touched on the Kennen and the Fiora, because I feel like these are champions that are pretty strong, at least meta adjacent, in my opinion. But there is also a decent skill cap associated with them. Fiora obviously has a fairly weak early game, so navigating that is imperative. And Kennen, finding flanks, coordinating with your team to get these big ultimates off, is a skill that a lot of these players, well, they might necessarily not have had the chance to develop it too much. Obviously, a lot of them coming fairly fresh out of solo queue, haven't been on these rosters too long, but they give you skill sets as a professional player that you can really start to expand into other areas. Finding flanks is absolutely imperative on Kennen, but it's also pretty good when you're playing stuff like the Gnar or the Renekton or something like a set, which are a little bit more standard. We are going to be jumping into the picks and bans now. We see DFM taking away the Alawi from Rando, and the Viego is the response.
Yeah, but normally you think, oh, that's Alawi is a really weird champion. Well, Rando plays it. And trust me when I say that if there's a good Alawi player on the other team, I don't care how out of meta she is, you ban that. Because that will tear you apart. An Alawi that snowballs is nothing short of nightmare fuel. So I love the Alawi ban here. It shows that DFM is respecting these oddball picks that absolutely could come out. And speaking of a bit more oddball picks, even the Kog'Maw getting caught out there from Marmino, which is, again, just you look at the meta, you're like, the Kog'Maw doesn't really belong, because you need, the Varus, you need the Ashe, you need the Aphelios, and no, none of them on the ban list.
There's always the possibility of the Lulu Cog coming out, which can be quite scary, so a little bit maybe more meta, but I'd have to agree with you, not as high on priority in terms of ADCs as some of those other picks, but this is looking like a fairly LJL draft right now. Xin Zhao locked in for DFM, grabbing themselves a very strong early game jungler. The response with the Renekton, enough said, but finally paired up with the Nidalee. We've seen so many Nidalees in the Academy League where they don't really have any setup in the top lane, but the Crocodile is absolutely brilliant at locking someone in place so those spears can connect.
Yeah, and that's what I love to see, aggressive junglers, right? And this is coming from someone of Kurup who has played a ridiculous number of champions in the scouting grounds. Just looking at through stats, they played more picks than anybody else in the 2020 scouting ground. So this is a person that has no issues grabbing a wide variety, I should say, of champions. But DFM, they don't want to be out cheese. They say, okay, you can go for your Renekton and Nidalee. Counterpoint, Catfish in the top lane and Assassin in the mid. So not even good targets, because Catfish is tanky as hell.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit Ebby, Steel, and Arya, top 3 picks for DFM. Hopefully Van Netsui and Ari will be able to replicate their performances. It will be the Leona locked in now, going towards Shakespeare in the bot lane, has had some excellent performances on that one. And with a little bit of the mismatches in the picks, obviously that Akali locked in blind, going towards the mid lane. Rascal Jesters could have the option of picking up a counter pick there. Banning out supports, the Rel is gone. DFM targeting out the Kai'Sa as well.
Yeah. Still a bit surprised to see the likes of the Akali, of all things, being blind picked. But this, again, we talked about it in our 4th match of the day, where teams aren't always following the standard protocol of what to lock in, right? Even Rascal Jester in this matchup, it makes sense why they've locked in their top end jungle, because you want the Nidalee with the Renekton. You want to sort of show off that power hub and say, look, you're not allowed to even scrap with us on the top half of the map here. But now it leaves Rascal Jester in a bit of a situation where they have to figure out, well, what the hell do we put in the bottom lane with Leona? I would have first thought would be Ziggs, but instead they're grabbing themselves the Aphelios.
Yeah, so the Aphelios does offer you a little bit more raw in fight power than the Ziggs, but the thing is, you've got an AP jungler in this Nidalee, so in terms of your damage spread, going for the Ziggs means that it's very easy for DFM to itemize magic resist, and then you'll be absolutely fine, especially locking in this Ashe Braum combination. Most likely going to be the Immortal Shield by Wit's End build coming out from Marimo. So we'll get a lot of value with that if you are pairing this pick up with a Ziggs. A lot of CC coming out from the bot lane of DFM to match the damage. in the mid and jungle. Now, Rascal Jesters, they know the full comp for DFM. They know where everyone is going, and they need to respond. It is going to be with the Malzahar for Cosmic, so a lot more lockdown in this mid lane, and I'm seeing a lot of easy spear targets for Nidalee.
Yeah, and the more lockdown, the Malzahar, I feel like, is not only just a good matchup into the Akali, because, you know, post Lost Chapter, you could just keep shoving her in and make it near impossible for her to actually engage on you. And pre-Lost Chapter, well, she needs to be able to land her Shuriken and then run to the Malzahar, and then you realize that Malzahar has a free spell shield, and you're like, okay, crap, how are you meant to start a fight here? Instead, I feel like Ree has to spend a good portion of this game on roaming duty, because you're not, you shouldn't be able to kill Cosmic in lane because he's just playing Malzahar, and anytime you play up post level 6, there is a spear catching you in the face if you try. So I'm a little bit worried at the Akali, just because what is she meant to do? She's not allowed to just sit in lane and farm because Malzahar pokes her down to high heaven. She can't play aggro in mid lane because she dies post level 6 and probably loses pre level 6. And if you roam, well, you're probably going to run into a Nidalee who's going to jam a spear down your throat and then kill you anyway. So I'm very worried about this lock-in.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. I feel like there is actually a world where you can go an early QSS on Ree here, which is going to give you a lot of value, especially when you're facing a double AP mid jungle duo, and that's going to give you a lot more ability to start accessing onto this Malzahar and onto this Aphelios as well as the Nidalee. I could definitely see a world where if you itemize that early on, then the mid jungle 2v2 can start going in your favor. But you're right, it's looking really, really rough for DFM on that side of the map. But it's looking pretty good for them in the bot lane. Ashe Braum is a combination that I really like to see come out, especially when you do have a high damage mid laner, because it has so much setup and works really well against the Leona who wants to get on top of you. The shield bow is going to pop from the Ashe. There isn't really a good Serpent's Fang builder on Rascal Jester, which means that she's going to be getting insane value out of that item and is going to be just slowing them out, dealing insane amounts of damage, which means that the rest of her team can kind of just go off.
Yeah, and pair that up with the fact that Fujimoto has the Braum, what is considered probably one of the best bot lane supports into the likes of the Aphelios, because he tries to throw anything at you, haha, shield go burr. And the fact that, well, that's what it is. You try to throw anything into Braum, he just raises his shield, like, okay, cool, try again later, buddy. And it puts the bottom lane of Siratama and Shakespeare in a bit of an awkward predicament where if you engage and you botch the engage up for whatever reason, suddenly your Aphelios isn't allowed to follow up because the shield catches everything, and then you as the Leona get nuked on Shakespeare's side of things because you've engaged, you've been tagged by the Braum auto attack, the Winter's Bite goes off, the bonus damage comes in, and Ashe, even though she's a utility carry, she still does damage. Like, it's not like she tickles you whenever she tries to slow you down. She's like clawing at your ankles like an angry feline at 3 a.m. No. She does damage, especially with the new build that comes through to her. So
I feel like you're speaking very strongly from experience right now.
Look, cats at 3 a.m. suck. Being a night owl at 3 a.m. is good until you decide, hey, I want to go to the kitchen for a snack, and the cat sees you walking at 3 a.m. going to the kitchen and says, those ankles belong to me, and then brings out the claws. Okay? It happened twice.
Oh, God. No.
So,
no.
The TLDR of that over-the-top explanation is basically, if Shakespeare misengages at any point, the bot lane goes disastrously wrong there for them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point. Because whilst this Leona is going to be pretty tanky with the Aftershock as well as the W, once those resistances come off, basically nothing that she can do. And whilst you sacrifice a little bit of damage by picking up this Ashe, you do offer a lot more utility, which means a lot more damage when people can't actually escape from you. Or if we look towards the top lane for DFM, I'm actually pretty happy with this one. Tahm Kench is generally a very good pick into Bruiser Champions because he kind of just out-damages you at all stages of the game, has an incredibly strong laning phase as well as good setup for the junglers. But we are going to be heading into game and seeing if Nesuti can take advantage of that fact. It's DFM Academy versus Rascal Jester's Academy, both teams looking to pick up their first wins.
Yeah, and seeing where it goes off. Well, first blood technically comes up from Kurup, getting the spear into
That's not how that works, Midnight. They need to kill him.
No, you don't have to kill him, you just have to wound them. Sometimes wounding is, oh no, the spear goes like, oh, Kurup, hold up. Okay, bit surprised they didn't go for that one, but the first wound then, not first blood, the first wound.
Ooh.
Second wound is in the Rascal Jester. And this is so typical of a Nidalee, because this is Nidalee's entire identity is do well in the early game. Outpace your enemy jungler, steal their camps, take your camps, steal their laners live. That's all you got to do as a Nidalee here for Kurup, which it sounds simple, right? Just do well, play aggro. Because the moment you stop playing aggro, the moment you say, hey, I'm going to spend a couple minutes farming my jungle, you become kind of irrelevant as a champion. So, I mean, if you heard my rant about Olaf Middlecott, it's basically like that, except you have to do more in the early game.
That kind of makes sense. We are going to be seeing both junglers starting on the bottom side, going towards the top end of the map. So, recognizing that whilst this matchup may be initially favored for Van, can be influenced if junglers make their way over. Cosmic on this Malzahar, not really a pick that we see too often, but like we already talked about, very nice up against the Akali, especially once you get to that level 6 mark, and are just able to click on her and lock her down.
That should make life a lot easier there as well. The fact that there is such easy lockdown. Hell, you could say easy lockdown for both sides, right? Specifically coming out of those supports. Leona, obviously, the Queen of Crowd Control herself, Braum. I can't think of a fancy name for him just yet, but I'm sure there's something there. And even the
Mr. Freeze.
So I think it's Mr. Freeze. They need to chill out is what they need to do.
They do.
So
the thing is, Braum is a lovely guy. He's always saying "ice to meet you."
Shut up.
Shenanigans aplenty, Midnight.
The problem is those kind of jokes just don't get said around here anymore because we don't have ice down in Australia. The best you get is like Mount Buller, and that's like you don't go there unless you're snowboarding.
I've been up Kosciuszko. That had some snow on top of it.
Oh yeah, true. Kosciuszko's the other big one, isn't it? Oh man, I wouldn't know. I don't go outside, so I don't. Really
That's
know
fair
that.
enough. Well,
I've casted a video game, man. I don't exactly have the best knowledge of the outside world as Kurup. Coming in for some aggro, we know this combo can work, but it's a Tahm Kench, so good luck.
Yeah, that spear didn't really connect onto anything, which means that Kurup's going to have to console himself by killing a defenseless Rift Scuttler, and Netsui will be doing the same on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, poor little scuttle crabs there get assassinated basically coming in between these two junglers. But I know, right? All they want to do is patrol their little kingdom, and instead you got big guys with spears and cougar transformation hybrid people running into your home and murdering you in this case. So, R.I.P. Scuttlebug.
You will be missed.
You'll be missed until you spawn in like 2 minutes time and then murdered again.
It's a never-ending cycle. It's really, we need to end the violence against Scuttlecrab.
Not just Scuttlecrab. I mean, the biggest losers here, I feel like, are the minions. For 11 years, these fearless warriors have just been getting cut down in the thousands. Poor things. As game, you might notice we're rambling a little bit, audience, and that may or may not have something to do with the fact that this early game is very slow.
Yes.
But the fact that we have two aggro as hell junglers, which I find very surprising. Kurup on a ward, and finally we get to see some aggro, other than the fact that the wave is in a horrible position for you to gank.
Yeah, this does give Rascal Jester the opportunity to go into this top side and grab some vision. I've actually been quietly impressed by some of the vision game coming out from these academy teams. I think the big one was V3. I know yesterday myself and Melvin were just sat in awe for a good 5 minutes about how aggressively they were establishing walls in the early game to completely shut down the enemy jungler. Similar things going on here from both these teams. Resets coming out from the DFM bot lane. I imagine that Siratama and Shakespeare are going to be heading back to base as well. Both junglers just farming through their camps. And like you mentioned, not really too much going down in the early game.
And with this sort of lull in the early game, I know just as I say that, Kurup's going in for an invade here, which you should be doing as an Italy. You want to get this, so he does see it's an ambush. But
this is good from Fujimoto, though. Oh, throws a spear over the wall, will be pouncing forward onto the Xin Zhao, but doesn't know Braum is here, will find that out, and is very upset by that fact, as it will be first blood going over to Fujimoto.
And 9 times out of 10, you're thinking to yourself, what the hell is Kurup doing there? But the better question is asking, what the hell is Fujimoto doing there? There is nothing on the top half of the map that demands his attention. Rift Herald isn't alive yet. There is no normal reason to expect the Braum to be in the top half of the map there, other than the fact that he just can. I mean, Ashe isn't in lane. So he's like, I don't need to be in the bot side. I can just come top side. Is there something happening? And perfect timing here. As Kurup, just the wrong time at the wrong place for the Rascal Jester jungler here.
Yeah. I always feel like he kind of got baited by the good vision that Rascal Jesters were able to establish there. Thinks that he can go for the invade, but it was a really good roam actually from Fujimoto. You see a lot of high-level supports doing this. As soon as they reset off the bot lane, after pushing it in the wave, they know that it's going to take a little bit of time for it to get pushed back into them, so they're able to move around the map and get these roams off. DFM using this opportunity to take this mountain Drake as the observer is zooming out. It's a very, very long way out, guys, but Drake will be going over to them without too much problems.
Yeah, no real objections to that one then. That's partly just the fact that Kurup lost all tempo, right? When you go down like that, you find it, you have to get back out. You got to go back to your camps to clear up a little bit there. And then Netsu's like, okay, cool, you're dead. You're not allowed to get vision control around the objective because I'm going to get there first, which means you're not allowed to contest me on this objective. So Kurup, after going down that first time, is going to have to find something on the map now. And I think it could be just mid lane, right? Cosmic has level 6 on the Malzahar. Yeah. We all know that's the no stop button. So I want to see something in the mid and the top lane because, again, you've locked in Renekton Nidalee. It is the same principle as Renekton Elise. Renekton stuns, Nidalee on Elise ganks. In this case, we just haven't seen that focus coming out from Kurup. Hell, the most impact they've had is invading the enemy jungle.
Which is incredibly strange, to be honest, because Renekton does have that interaction where by using the enhanced Ruthless Predator, getting that enhanced stun duration, it also breaks shield. So if you're able to bait that out from Van early on, can be a really advantageous matchup, as we see many members of DSM, actually all 5 collecting through the top side of this map to take this Rift Herald. Might be looking to couch up Kurup as well as he finishes this red buff. Starts walking over. Oh no, man, but who is catching who here? It's DFM catching onto the Nidalee. Another kill for Fujimoto as they're going further forward. Shakespeare forced a flashback over the wall, and it's all DFM right now.
And the reason why DFM did that is they were set up first. Both teams had the same idea. Hell, it's the staple in the LJL. 5 members to the top half of the map here. The only people who are usually not there are sometimes the AD carry players. In this case, they were there as well. But the big problem is, if you got to notice that, is that the Rascal Jester marksman was not present at all there for the fight. Look at the minimap as this is happening. They throw out this, okay, we know what's going on. We know Kurup is here. And Kurup doesn't respect the ambush because, look, his Leona and his Aphelios are a solid 20 seconds away. Instead, Kurup doesn't really care about that, overstays his welcome, and, well, just charges headfirst into a Braum, gets CC'd up courtesy of the Akali, gets taken down. And at that point, Rascal Jester, they're no longer allowed to fight. They are forced to back away there. They've lost their jungler. Shakespeare takes an absolute ton of damage and only gets out because Leona is particularly tough to take down.
I tell you what though, Fujimoto looking coconutty and chocolate covered, got a bounty on the Braum, 150 gold. That'd be quite nice if Rascal Jesters could pick that one up. And it also means that a lot of the extra gold value as a gank is occurring in the mid lane. That's the lockdown from the Malzahar. One more spear to take down Reed, but it will not connect. No flash burn by the Akali. She wasn't running it in the first place, but this is the power of that mid jungle combo for Rascal Jesters.
Yeah, and that's a good start, but now this needs to happen again and again and again.
Yeah.
You have to accelerate the game as a Nidalee. Unfortunately, there's no two ways about it. A late game Nidalee is nothing more than a spear bot. You throw out your spear and pray that it lands. That's all you really get to do in the late game. So if you get past the first 15, 20 minutes of the game and you haven't got a 30 CS lead, if you haven't got a good number of kills under your belt, and if you've got a gold disadvantage, you're just going to fall off completely, especially when you compare that to the likes of Zinzao, who, yes, an early game aggro jungler, he's still a pain in the ass to deal with in the mid to late game, because he can just engage on the back of just, I'm going to press W, and if you get 12 of that, I'm pressing E. Like, it is so difficult to deal with that champion, so...
Well, it's the Crescent Guard as well, isn't it? It's the fact that he can act as sort of this pseudo frontline champion whilst not building any tank items. Kurup will be able to pounce over the wall, but that's the EQW combo with the arrow as well. It's going to be a third death for the RJ jungler. Shakespeare able to get out, and the reinforcements are here from DFM, so there will be no turnaround.
And the timing. 50 seconds before Ocean now means that Rascal Jester, they're not allowed to get any vision in this river whatsoever. DFM have complete control. There is, then they get a hammer in on the top half of the map here, but Catfish just, Catfish is Catfish. But that pick on to Kurup really puts Rascal Jester in a bit of a disastrous position, honestly, here, because what happens? He just doesn't have the pounce.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's
it's just very sad.
Yeah, I know it's an outdated meme, but Alexa, you know what you have to do here. It's real boomer hours of jokes, man.
Alexa, sponsor EU Masters. That's the thing. Yeah, Amazon now sponsor EU Master.
Oh, do they?
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's the Amazon EU Masters.
Oh, we've got I think all we have down in OC is we have DoorDash. That's
the DoorDash LCO.
Yeah, DoorDash on the LCO. That's our current claim to fame here.
I like that. I like that. It's got like a powerful sound to it.
It's also just thinking with your stomach, which is a little.
Oh yeah, exactly. I hear DoorDash and I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good right now. As DFM think that Drake sounds pretty good. Might be going for Shakespeare though, but even though the Enchanted Crystal Arrow was used, will not be able to take her down. As this Ocean Drake will be going over is the Infernal Rift, so a little bit more damage if DFM can kill a couple more of those Drakes.
And for Rascal Jester, that was the last thing you wanted to see here. You'd have been so happy for this to be a Cloud Dragon, but it is nightmare fuel now, because Rascal Jester, the reason why they have to give up these next couple objectives is purely the difference between the junglers. Now, Kurup, yes, has a level advantage. Kurup also is 0-3.
Yes.
And the problem with it, as I've said time and time again, is if Nidalee is behind, and if Nidalee, hold on, Cosmic, getting annoyed there, but if Nidalee is behind, insert disgusted noises here because the Nidalee does nothing. If the Nidalee is even, it's like, okay, this is very far from ideal because you need to be snowballing. And if Nidalee gets ahead, it's also disgusted noises because she literally just 100%.
So what sort of noises are we associating with the middle one there?
The middle one, the one that you kind of see now, is just sort of a depressed sigh. It's like, oh, here we go again, because it's another Nidalee performance where Kurup it's partly, you could say it's Kurup's fault. He got caught by Fujimoto again. Who the hell expects Fujimoto to be there when there's no reason for him to be on the top half of the map?
But the thing is, as well, this is a composition that should enable the Nidalee. Oh no, Kurup getting chased out of their own jungle. Fujimoto is here again. Just run away from these raptors. You aren't getting it as he jumps back forward. Gets smited down there. I didn't see who picked up the big chicken there.
It looked like Kurup. I think Kurup was.
Okay, so that's a W. We're taking that one.
Yeah, but the fact that the Nidalee has to fight for her jungle at 14 minutes is really, really alarming there. And that just throws, the gold difference is 300 gold. But the fact that the Rascal Jester jungler is not even safe in their own jungle is just really telling of the current game state that we're in and just how dominant DFM are. Because again, we talked about it time and time again. Kurup Nidalee was supposed to be facilitated by this composition, and it just hasn't been able to perform. Minimal, I think it's had like 1 or 2 ganks at most coming into this game so far.
But the thing is, like, it's not even like Nidalee being at a deficit. Those spears still hit a decent amount, and all the gold advantage for DFM, it's on Fujimoto. I'd wager that across the rest of the map, they are actually behind. They've just been playing with a lot more tempo, a lot more aggression, and they actually seem like they know what they're doing. The lanes are going slightly in favor of Rascal Jester, though. 15 CS lead in the top side, 10 CS lead in the mid lane. It's not brilliant, but you'll take it at this point. We need to see proactive plays coming out from Jester's Academy, especially before this next Drake spawns in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, but then the question is, well, where do you go? And at this point, top lane is no longer an option. This Tahm Kench ain't dying to your gang.
Nah.
He's got his Frostfire fully completed. The Renekton just doesn't have a way to deal with the tankiness of that one in Italy. Certainly doesn't either. So you have to revisit mid lane, but we haven't seen Kurup really seem interested in the mid lane for whatever reason. There's no QSS, there's no flash. If you get on top of Ree, he dies. But instead, it's just been a lot of invading the enemy jungle and getting some farm. And even then, that's only a 10 CS lead for an Italy, which unfortunately is just not going to put you in the position you need to be as in an Italy in professional play.
Fortunately, though, this does mean that you do have time to scale up if you are Sirotama. We have just seen Marimo's counterpart take the Immortal Shield, but I imagine that's going to be following fairly swiftly for the Rascal Jester AD carry. And it's an item that really enables the Aphelios to do what he wants to do when we get to the mid-game. But, like we're talking about, why have we not seen this Akali being pressured? No flash available for her. We did see Kurup make their way over to here once, but it didn't really result in too much. Now with the Rift Herald, I imagine we're going to be seeing this summoned fairly soon to give DFM even more priority over onto this Drake. Looks like they're not going to do that, just heading over into the river, going to clear out some vision.
Yeah, I mean, you could stay in mid there, but against the lockdown that is available there from Cosmics, it's just really difficult. You don't particularly want to lure them in. If anywhere, you drop it bot lane, but it might not matter as a fight is blooming here. Rascal Jester, again, it's relatively even in gold.
Kurup! Oh, he dives sword. He's going to be diving down into the death chamber as Rascal Jesters are looking to take the fight. Rascal Sirotama has some very, very good guns, but Netsui gets another kill, and Marimo is starting to pop off. Rascal Jesters have lost 3 members. Shakespeare is going back in, trying to get something on the back line, but she won't be able to do it without falling down, and it's a 4-0 in favor of DFM.
And Kurup wanted that Scuttle Crab, committed in the setup for a team fight, burns the pounce forwards there, and then immediately the moment that DFM see the opening, say, hey, the enemy jungler is a bit too close than we'd prefer them to be, kill her. As it's the skirmish, right? The DFM for the Scuttle Crab, look at their position here. They're backing up and saying, okay, that's fine, you're allowed to contest us here.
Kurup, don't
and
do
then
it.
Kurup says, I land this here, jumps in. And then just the follow-up, the less than ideal flash hit. And Shakespeare, she can't do anything in this situation. She tries to buy time, but the issue is that Rascal Jester has already been dived on here. Now, Sirotama does have some pretty good weapons for the Aphelios there. He has his Chakras and he has Severum. So it's not like they can't fight in close range, but the problem is, for these itemizations to work here, you need a front line. And unfortunately, as we very clearly saw, DFM just sort of ran forwards, and immediately Sirotama was in the oh crap, they're on top of me mode from the start of the team fight, which is, I think it's fair to say that's less than ideal, as you see another skirmish topside.
That's a nice stun landing by Rando as a Solar Flare will come out. It doesn't quite take down the Akali as she's able to perfectly execute herself out of the situation, but it does mean that Rascal Jesters will be able to pick up their first tower of the game going on to Rando. With a big commitment in the top side for them, they could be looking for more. Directon is at full fury and is able to get out of that one. So Rascal Jesters finding themselves a small win on the map, but it's not bringing back that gold lead.
Yeah, and it feels so weird for this game to say, hey, it's only been a couple 100 gold lead until recently, where a 2,000 gold lead has bloomed itself here. But despite it's been a minimal gold lead, Rascal Jesters have felt like they've been on the back foot basically since First Blood here.
Yeah.
And the fact that, 7 kills to none does give you the impression that, hey, Rascal Jester must surely they're about 4,000 gold down. Well, no, that's not the case here. Part of that is just due to the good farming of the members here. CS advantages in the 3 primary lanes. Now, yeah, it's not a lot, but that's a little bit built up time and time again. But then again, you have to look at the fact that, hey, a certain team by the name of DFM may or may not have 3 out of the 4 dragons with the Infernal Soul in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Normally, you'd be like, okay, Rascal Jesters have actually got a fair few different damage dealers, so if they're able to scale a little bit further, then they can do a bit more. DFM, you're really relying on Ari and Marimo to put out the damage for you, with Jin Xiao and Tom Kench sort of acting as like secondary carries in that regard. But it's just the item disadvantage which is really doing you dirty at this point. We see that Sterix Gauge and the Gore Drinker completed for Netcity, compared to Kurup, who is there with the Night Harvester and that little Oblivion Orb. Stopwatch as well, but that's not going to be too valuable when you're probably just going to be dying immediately after using it anyway.
Yeah, your job as an Italy is to go in, find someone and kill them, ideally when they're on their own. Unfortunately, it's like the problems like we don't see Kha'Zix that often anymore in professional players. Kha'Zix is greatest when you can divide the enemy team, but in pro play and in coordinated play, even like this in the amateur scene, it just doesn't happen. Because all it takes is a coordinated team to think to themselves, okay, they have a champion that excels at finding someone on their own and bullying the crap out of them. So if you just don't leave the weakest member of your pack alone, a wolf doesn't go after a full pack of sheep. It hunts down for the weakest member.
A pack of sheep?
And I don't know. Am I going too far with metaphors again?
I just love the idea of a pack of sheep. I've always thought of sheep as fairly docile animals, but obviously, as an Aussie, you've got a lot of...
Clearly, you've never seen an Australian sheep. It will fight you 1v1.
I have seen an Australian sheep. So we're going on a little bit of a tangent here, but like... My dad's from Australia, and a few years back we went on a really nice holiday where we basically got rented out an RV, went around a little bit of Australia to see sort of like where we was from, and it was actually pretty cool. And I saw an Australian sheep, and it looked at me very aggressively.
I mean, that's typically any Australian animal will just look at you aggressively. Like, I think I've told everyone I think I've told most of the casters here, but like 2 or 3 nights ago, it was like 3 in the morning. I'm lying on my bed, not sleeping, because why would you sleep at 3 in the morning? On my phone, and I see just these little bit of legs running towards my arm in like the dim light of my phone. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, why am I getting ganked by Elise in real life? Like, come on. So it's just like, yeah, piss off, and then it went under my bed somewhere, and I haven't seen it for 2 days. So, and that's typical Australian animals for you. It's somewhere under my bed. I don't know where. But Elise is just sort of hanging out there. So,
it's fine,
fun times.
Fun times. DFM are looking to have some fun times around this Infernal Drake spawning in 10 seconds. Rascal Jester, you kind of need to do something here. That's a very deep TP coming through from Rando. Does have the Dominus available. That's a really nice Asho into the Abyssal Voyage from Van. Siratama forced to kite back away. No kills coming out yet, but DFM are quick to change that as Cosmic goes down on the backside of the fight. Quickly taking down the Ash in trade for Marimo, but there goes Siratama. Rando looking like a random right now as he falls, and it's DFM taking over the fight as Kurp will fall for the 5th time this game, and DFM claim their 5th kill of the fight. It's an ace, and it's time for Infernal Soul.
That is an utter heartbreak for Rascal Jester. The flank TP from Rando would have been beautiful. It would have gotten him complete access to the DFM backline, and then you could pincer the hell out of them. The one problem was that DFM didn't allow that to happen. Look at the engage that DFM threw out there. Specifically, I want you to watch Van on the Tom Kench, because, like, okay, they sense something's up, so they're seeing, okay, where do we find our opening? They find it here.
Oh my gosh.
Ash Arrow catches 0, a 2-man knockup, and the immediate follow through for DFM throws the entire Rascal Jester. Look how spread this fight is. This is 4 separate fights happening at once, and unfortunately, when you are thus this far behind the momentum, you are not coordinating as a full team. Rascal Jester just get demolished in the follow-up fight there, and DFM what proactive moves they saw an opening. And I don't know if they knew the Renekton was behind them, but if they didn't go at that moment, it would have been disaster. And oh no, speaking of it.
They're going again. Kurup's going down into the grey screen as Shakespeare might be soon to follow. She's able to be falling down as well, as that's a double kill going over to Ari. Make that a triple kill as Siratama is wiped off the face of the map. And DFM are eyeing the Baron with very, very hungry eyes.
And this is so heartbreaking here. Finally, we get Rascal Jester feeling a bit more confident after, because let's be honest, they've spent the last 20 minutes just getting the crap beaten out of them so far. Every time Kurup tries to make a proactive play, getting caught, getting taken down. I think he's 0-6 right now on an Italy here. And Rascal Jester, they're trying to set up, but unfortunately, they have an Infernal Soul. You're not allowed to be here within superior numbers. And, well, in the case here, even in the case where you have some number advantage, you're just getting dived on and nuked. That was disgusting. That was through a shield bow.
Oh, that was... I'm fundamentally not okay with that.
He had a shield bow. Emphasis on had a shield bow because it didn't save it.
I'll tell you what, Siratama, just sell that right now, man. Get a Kraken Slayer or something. Try and do some damage, because if you get jumped on, you are just dead. We saw him in the previous fight, the one before that one, trying to kite his way as well as he could on the Aphelios, but wasn't able to make it out. Netsuti able to chase him down, and DFM now pushing with this Baron, just melting these towers.
I would love to know what that TP was from Van. That was just such an odd TP there.
Wait, what? I missed it.
He just TP'd from top lane to here.
Oh, Poggers. He's getting in the mixer, mate.
Well, it means they can do a 1-4 in close proximity together, which DFM have got to be happy with here, because Rascal Jester, they need to do something, but in a Baron up siege, 8,000 gold behind, there aren't a lot of good solutions. The only solution here is Shakespeare. She has to get a colossal engage. I'm talking about, I'd say Flash Solar Flare, but unfortunately, with her Flash not available, it's just going to have to be a miraculous engage, because right now, Rascal Jester, they're in survival mode, and that often doesn't go well.
Yeah, this is the thing. DFM can just take their time. They've got the Baron for another minute. They're going to have the Infernal Soul for, I reckon, another 3 until they end this game. And you can just siege slowly down. There's no real strong wave clear tools available for Rascal Jesters. This means that you can take this inhibitor basically for free. And oh, look at the mid lane. Van has been pushing down this one as well. Towers on half HP. So DFM will be able to take down their second inhib tower and possibly another inhibitor.
I think there's no way that they don't secure the inhibitor here unless Rascal Jester make their desperation play, because they've got one fight left in them here. And, well, no, at DFM's like, you got one fight left, let's force it, is what they were going for there. Not able to get that one. And now, DFM back up, one lane is all they have to push, and Rascal Jester, it's a near irrecoverable situation right now.
Yeah, and that's how you want to be doing these pushes with the Baron and Infernal Soul. You don't need to take a random risk going for a fight that I must say you've got a 90-95% of chance of winning anyway at this stage, but that 5-10% you don't want to take the risk. Just play it out nice and slow. Siratama with those 420 crits onto the rules, but it's not been a dank game for him. 0-0. Hasn't been able to have the impact that he would have liked on this Aphelios. Only one kill for Rascal Jesters in totality. If it weren't for that and a couple of towers, then DFM could be on for a perfect game, which is such a contrast to how this team was playing yesterday.
Yeah, but the way that this team, and again, you look at how did this game fall out of Rascal Jester's hands so quickly? How did things escalate to this degree? Well, part of it you could just say was, again, Kurup didn't have the game that they were going for here, right? You need to do well in this Nidalee. You drafted a team based around getting the Nidalee to carry you through the rough early game into a spectacular late game where you just pick people apart and the Aphelios tears them asunder. But unfortunately, Kurup lost control of the game super early due to, and again, I've said it a few times now, an unconventional roam by Fujimoto on the Braum. That put them so far behind, and now Kurup, is he trying to ambush for Soul? Is that what he's actually going for?
Well,
oh no, I know what he's doing. He is basically hoping, his team is not coming to Soul. This is a desperation, a kamikaze steal is what this has to be. This is a full-on, I'm going to go in If I steal it, fantastic. But I'm dead no matter what this turns out to be, steal or no steal.
Oh, no. Oh, no, but you can look on the map. You can see Van is coming over. Kurupt, you need to get... No way.
No.
No way.
No way.
Oh, my God, Kurupt, if you actually pull this off, it's one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. He wasn't spotted. He wasn't spotted. No, he wasn't spotted.
Way.
They don't know that he's here.
No, they know he's here. They know. They have to know. Look at that. You do not path like this as Van if you don't know what's up. 7,000. We're holding our breath here. I'm holding my breath here out of anticipation. Cameron, no! Cameron, look at the
what
fight!
Are you doing? No!
Wait,
I don't care that he died!
Okay.
Oh, okay. Kurupt's been eaten up, goes into the Zhonya's. It's 2,000 HP on the Eldritch. He's flashing away. He needs to get over the wall. He needs to get the smite off, but it's not going to happen. He fails the pounce, and he's just going to be going down on the other side. DFM are taking the fight, and they're taking the Elder Drake. It was a nice attempt, Kurupt, but ultimately you will be falling down as DFM look to put the lights out on Rascal Jesters and pick up their first win of the Academy League.
Oh, Rascal Jester going for an all-in style at the end. They're even committing everyone to the cause, but it doesn't work out now. DFM will finally get a win under their belt.
Yeah, here we go. Just taking down the Nexus. Commiserations to Rascal Jesters. You will be going 0-3, but DFM getting their Academy League season started with that victory.
Yeah, and a dominant showing there. Finding a team composition that is supposed to be super well in the early game. Fighting something that is meant to sort of destroy you. Hell, it was drafted to win those first 15 minutes of the game. The Malzahar is perfect setup for the Nidalee. The Renekton, perfect setup for the Nidalee. But part of the problem was they showed their hand super early. Like, you drafted Renekton Nidalee in the first phase. So you know, okay, let's just get a top laner that isn't going to die. Let's get a mid laner who is safe enough with the Akali, with that Shroud, with the mobility, that's not going to die to that gank in theory. And the drafting was good as a response from DFM, and it wasn't necessary because we saw, I think, 2 ganks from Kurupt coming into that game after they fell behind.
Yeah, they showed their hand pretty early, but they also didn't play anything at any point. I think Rascal Jesters, I didn't know if they were playing scared, if they thought that they outscaled, but we saw a similar thing from Axis earlier, where you just let the enemy team get these advantages over time, grab the Infernal Soul, and once that happens, well, you've basically got no way back into the game. Kurupt, the fact that he has to go for a steal attempt on the Elder Drake at that point in the game is just a testament to how far behind Rascal Jesters ended. But you got to give a little bit of credit to DFM. Their play today was a lot cleaner than we saw for them 24 hours ago.
Yeah, it was very impressive. And I think, honestly, I've talked about it a few times, probably enough that there's a horse somewhere waiting around out there and there's a stick next to it. But I think Fujimoto on the Braum played spectacularly, right? Set Kurupt behind, and then Kurupt spent the rest of the game in panic mode saying, oh crap, I need to be doing all of these things because my team needs me to do well in the early game. My team needs this Nidalee to step up, to get massive leads, to get the lane snowballing. And then you just couldn't, which is the super heartbreaking part there. So DFM looking brilliant. And for Rascal Jester, I don't think the draft helped them at all. The draft, it just felt so weird.
Well, I think that's been a sticking point for a lot of us about the way that Rascal Jesters have been approaching their pregame. I don't think there's many things that they're doing on the Rift that are all that bad. Obviously, this game was a little bit opposed to that, quite sloppy in a number of ways, but it doesn't feel like the drafts are really setting them up for success. We are going to be going to a short break now. After that, it's going to be Axis taking on CGA Academy, two of my personal favorite teams, and I'm sure it is going to be an absolute blast. Don't go anywhere.